What's happening, people? Damn, the lighting is good in here right now. What's happening, people of YouTube? This is Screwdog Gamer bringing you another Fishing Planet tutorial video on something that I think is pretty cool that you're able to do in the game with the motorboat release. I'm actually hopefully going to have one of the bass boats here pretty soon. We're going to see how that goes. Hopefully I'll be able to get one shortly. If I can get a hold of one, I'll make sure to do a review video of it. Unfortunately, until then, I'm still going to be rocking my my Flagman Sagita, however you say that, the 11-foot John boat with like the super basic looking fish finder on it. But I was playing the other day and I saw a guy doing this, and I thought, man, that is something I have not seen somebody do in the game, and not something I've seen on YouTube for it. Is I have seen people trolling. I never even thought, it never crossed my mind that trolling would be a possibility in the game. And it is, and it works, and it actually catches pretty good fish. So I wanted to kind of bring it to everybody's attention and just show you how I started doing it and how I started catching fish. So let's talk setup real quick. Right now I'm using my big boy rod setup because I am fighting stripers for the most part in this region. And I like a spoon. I think the spoon works the best. It's the most stable in the water column. It stays at the same height. And you can work it up and down a little bit depending on how far away from the boat you have the lure. So I am using the Galaxy Cast 8.6 Sport, Old Faithful with the VBO reel. And I think this is 30 or 35 pound braid. I don't even think I have it in here. I think I have all fluorocarbon. I think this is this should be 25 pound braid right here, either 25 or 30 pound braid. But let's get out here and I'll show you how I have started doing it out of the boat. And I've actually caught some fairly nice fish. I caught a steelhead, and I need to do a tutorial on these damn fish finders. You can see there's a ton of fish here. It's probably just come on, headset. I think I'm going deaf in my right ear. There's a fair amount of fish hitting on it. Right now I think there's predatorial fish sitting outside of those grass lines, and they're feeding on the smaller fish. You can see fish hanging out on the ledges and stuff like that. So I know the line is populated. The line that I'm going to run is populated, and we're in California in the San Joaquin Delta right now, and I'm going to be running a straight line straight back from where I'm looking right now. Pretty much from this point back is the line I like to run when I'm trolling here. So let's get, when you're going slow, it's very difficult to turn this thing around, so I'm going to speed up. Good God. This thing does not have a good turning radius whatsoever. But it's working, and it works pretty well. And I've caught consistently bigger fish doing the trolling method versus fishing, anchoring somewhere and sitting there. So we'll get our boat lined up. Now, how deep, I'll drop anchor so I can talk about this, how deep you have the lure is going to be solely dependent. There's actually fish right underneath us too. How deep you want the lure is going to depend on two things. How fast you're going. If you have a diving bait like a crankbait or a triple runner, that is going to dictate how deep it runs, how fast you're going. And it seems to me that it doesn't quite matter so much with a spoon. I am using a 2-ounce spoon. I'm using a heavy spoon so it'll stay down in the water column. But to me, with the spoons, it matters more that I have the lure at least 50 feet out. And if I want it to sink lower, I'll put it even further out. And even then, sometimes I try to run the boat at 1 to 2% with the spoons, and between 1 and 3 with the crankbaits. 5% being the max you would want to go, because it just pulls the lures really, really damn fast. There are a lot of fish underneath me right now in this grass line underneath me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up on a straight line. I'm anchored right now. I'm going to go ahead and unanchor. I want to talk for a minute, so I don't want the motor running. But I'm going to start the motor up. I'm going to set it between 1 and 2% because I'm using my spoon, and that has worked well for me. 1 and 2%, and I'm going to aim the boat directly in a straight line for the most distant point, or whatever line I want to run in the water column. I'm going to cast my lure out directly behind me, and I like between 50 and 60 feet with this particular spoon. The distance is going to depend. A crankbait, you don't have to throw it out quite as far. The fish will be a little closer when you hook them. Triple runners, same deal. Those are the only two baits I've really ran are spoons and crankbaits because they're trolling baits. So we're going to start the engine up. I'm going to get lined up, and we're going to run a straight line across this water column and see if we can't hook a fish. And I'm fairly sure we're going to get one mighty quick. So we'll just tap it up. There we go, 2%. I'm going to get right on my line. I want to set this up before I cast out now, because once I cast out, I'm not turning to grab the motor anymore. So that's about the right direction I want to go. And I'll cast out about 50 feet. And if it's not far enough, you know, if I don't like the distance on it, then I'll just back it up. Now I'll move my rod tip up and down, or I'll reel it in a little bit closer if I don't think the lure's running in the water column right where I want it, but I know it's coming across that shallow point there. So think about the, you know, how deep the water is. It's a little higher than I want it. Oh, there was one. The bites are quick, and you need to have your reel set to full speed, because if you have it set to something else, this isn't an automatic hookup system because you're not reeling. If you go to reel and you have it in reverse, it's just going to let line out and you're not going to hook the fish. I can hear those beeps. Those beeps are good auditory cues to let me know that I'm moving over fish in the water column. I don't know how deep they are right now, but I know there's fish in the water column. We're passing the marker that I have for whenever I'm bobber fishing for striper. You just you want to keep that wherever you see fish in the water column. That's where you want to keep your lure, right? So I know it's getting a little high in the water column. They're hanging out mid-level right now, so I want to let it down. I want to let it get down there. I like fishing this spoon at one speed. If I can get a heavier spoon, I will, but I just didn't have one in my backpack for this trip. There's a ooh, God, that's 2 missed fish. Are you kidding me? We're gonna get one here shortly, so I'll just twitch it up, try and get it up a little bit. If it doesn't want to come up, I'll give it a reel. Right there in the middle of the water column. Now you're gonna know when you hit the end of your line because the boat's gonna smash into something and you're gonna be done. So we're just trying to get to the end of the water column. I know I just passed over another fish, so hopefully we'll hook up on another one here soon. It is quick. It's a fast bite, so you got to be watching it. It's not one where you can let them run with it. Come on, one more here, buddy. I missed 2 just because I wasn't fast enough on the hook set. Come on, there's gonna be one right here. Gotta be one right here. And it's a good way to cover a ton of water. God dog it, man. Do I still have him on? No, he's gone. It's a good way to cover a lot of... There's a fish. Ooh, my God. That's a good fish. That's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, we hooked into a good fish here. The boat's still moving. Yeah, that's one thing you got to think about. The boat is going to keep moving even if you're hooked up. There's no way to really stop it. Which is kind of good. It's going to fight the fish a little bit for you, but if you don't have a lot of line on your rod and the fish is pulling drag, you might be a little bit in trouble. Looks like a steelhead. That's a good steelhead. Steelhead are the hardest fighting fish in this water column. So we've run up on shore, so I'll just turn around and do it all again. It's fairly simple. Or if you troll and you find a spot where you've just caught a fish, you can always turn around and go cast that same spot again, and you know, you can start fishing that particular area of the water column. It's a good way to search. Good way to search for fish, figure out where they're concentrated, and then you can get concentrated on that area. So like I know I hooked up right in that cut over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and fish that cut, and I'm going to fish it pretty good, just anchor out and hang out, and I'll probably catch another fish. That could be an isolated fish, but more often than not, if there's one, there's more. So I know they like the moving bait, he just bit on one that was just literally just the equivalent of a straight slow. Now with a 2-ounce bait, it's going to be difficult for me to do a straight slow, so I'll try and do a straight and just get it off the bottom. Ooh, somebody just caught a nice sturgeon over there. Now you don't have to do a presentation like you're trolling. You can do a stop and go. If you can even get your heavy ass lure off the ground. So probably what a good idea is, if you do get the bite and you want to really concentrate on an area, maybe switch it up. If you're using a moving bait like a crankbait, it probably won't be a huge deal for you. But like over there, I know the water isn't super deep, so I'll pick something like a 8-foot lemon crankbait. It's the same color. Put it on the rod, and we're going to give it a couple casts and see if my theory here is correct. And even with all the new baits that have come out, I still think a crankbait is the best bait you can use on here. Now, if you're trolling, you can use spinnerbaits. I've caught them on spinnerbaits out here. Crankbaits are obviously a popular bait for trolling, but I think the spoons do the best at it. That's just me, though. This crankbait's digging just a little bit too deep. I'd rather it be in the middle of the water column where I got bit, but it was favoring the lower side. So I'm going to fish this area a little bit. If I don't get anything, I can just start my line again and go right back across. It's, you know, it's trolling. It is what it is, and hopefully it works out for everybody the way it's been working out for me and just producing some good fish. And if you don't get bit, don't stay there all day. You know, you've got a limited amount of time, just like in real life, so get out of the hole and get back to trolling. Find another area, fish it a little bit. If it's hot and you're catching them real good, keep up with it. If it's not, get your ass up and move. You know, don't sit there all day. It's very similar to fishing in real life, but understand that you know, the game is in your favor very much, but sometimes randomness is randomness. So I'd like to catch 2 fish for you guys before I log it off. So we're going to troll with the crankbait and see if I can hook one up here, because I'm not seeing a whole lot of action. Let me turn around and start the engine. So the crankbait, I'm not going to be too ashamed if it goes a little bit over what I was originally planning. You know, so if I'm planning on going at 2 and it goes to 3 or 4, 4 is a little quick. 3 I think is a good number for the crankbaits. That's what I've had the most luck on, and I don't have to cast out quite so far with a crankbait. I can go out to 40 feet. It's 55, so I'm going to reel it in just a little bit, just because it does decrease my my reel in, which means I can catch the fish quicker, which means I can catch more fish in the day. And there's a couple more things you're learning from this. You're learning, you know, you're trolling at a certain depth in the water column, so you're actually learning. There's a fish. I think that's a largemouth. You're actually learning where the fish are in the water column. So if you're trolling high and they're biting there, then, you know, you're doing pretty good. You get this bait back out there. And another good thing is if you hear those beeps, you throw your bait out and it gets back down there and it's fishing far enough behind you to where you're catching up. So it's you hear the beep, you throw out, and pretty much by the time it gets to the bottom, that lures where the fish were. So hopefully you'll get a bite off of that as well. Definitely a new way to do this whole trolling deal, and I'm hoping to be able to show you guys the bass boat here soon. Come on, let's hook up one more time. If I hook up one more time, I'll end the video. I'm gonna make this the last trolling run. I want to make you guys watch a 12-minute video for nothing. How long have I been recording? 14 minutes. Jesus Christ. I always plan on making these videos like 6 minutes long, and I never do, because I don't want to cut stuff out and you guys miss something and not understand the principle behind what I'm doing, or, you know, think that I did something that I'm not showing you, and that's the reason that it's failing. Well, at least we got a largemouth on that one. There's a fish. Oh, there's a fish. That's a good one. Please be a striper. Ooh. I think it's another steely. I can't get a good look at him. Good God. That's a striper. I'm in trouble. That's a big ass one. Oh, that's a good fish. Come here, boy. Jump right here. Let me see you. That's a steely. It's a good one too. There you go. 2 steelhead and a largemouth, and on a brand new fishing method. I hope you guys learned something from this. Let me shut the damn motor off so I can do my outro. Oh God, I forgot how to make that go away. E should make it go away. Alright. There we go. Alright, so I hope you guys learned something from this video. Let me know if you have any questions about trolling or anything in Fishing Planet really. If you do, let me know. I'll be glad to at least try to answer them. So I hope you guys have a great day. This is Crew Dog Gamer. I'll see you guys.